Hi everyone. So we are going to look at a game now, which I played myself in 2017. This game came from the London system, which I had tried for the first time in this game, and I did kind of like it. I liked the structures then, and at that time, not many people played it, and the main line was something which I really liked. So let's look at the game. D4, D5, Bishop F4, Knight F6, E3, C5, C3, Knight C6, Knight D2, E6, and this was the main line back then. And this is something which gives white attacking chances, and I really like playing as white against this system. So I play Knight F3. So white plays Knight F3 because black is going to play Bishop D6, and after Bishop G3, he doesn't want uh, black to go ahead with E5. So white just castles, white develops Bishop D3 and B6. So this is the main line, and there are many games here, and uh, white has many ways to play. So Kamsky's improvement here was Queen E2 followed by Rook D1, and if you actually want to learn the run system, I think Kamsky's games uh, are the single most important resource you can have. Um, but the second move for white is E4. There's also this move Knight E5 sometimes, but E4 is what I played in the game. And here black can of course just take, take, and this would be just tiny bit better for white. So black also plays the most critical line, and that is bishop e7. So he avoids the fork and plays white plays e5, knight h5. So now this knight is probably going to be exchanged for this bishop at some point, but black is in no hurry to do it because white has no clear path, and he's trying to kind of wait until the right moment. So white plays queen e2. So this is not necessarily to castle queen side because black's pawns are already advanced. He can immediately go ahead with c4 and b5. It's more to do with kind of bringing the queen into e3, kind of creeping move, and then transfer it to the king side. So black here made a mistake. Usually in this position g6 is plausible and bishop d7 is also a decent move. But he here played c takes d4. So this is a mistake because basically he's exchanging this knight for white's this knight. And as you can see, this knight doesn't have a decent square to go to, but somehow after this exchange, now it has a very comfortable square on f3. So black plays g6 because the knight was hanging, and white just castles. Bishop b7 and knight f3. Now here black played a6, maybe rook c8 was slightly better. A6, queen e3. As I said, you can see the queen is pointing towards black's king side now. And here black took on g3. Now here is where I made a mistake, I think. Uh, this was my first game, so I was not really used to the structures. For example, mostly we do capture h takes g3 because it's better to move our pawns towards the center. But in this case, maybe f takes g3 is even better because you open up the rook's file and you can immediately go for g4, g5 with a clamp on the black's position. You can imagine, let's say rook c8, g4. Let's make some random move, b5 and g5. Now you can see how cramped black's position is. White will go h4, knight h2, knight g4, and knight f6. For example, let's just pass with black. Rook c7, knight g4, and you can already see how dangerous white's attack is. So, of course, black is not going to waste moves, but it's very hard to find a plan for black here. I mean, imagine you're black, what do you do to prevent this plan? You don't have any entry square on the c file, and your bishop on b7 is bad, your bishop on e7 can't do much. It's hard to believe that black has anything here. So I kind of missed this and I played h takes g3 automatically, but still there is some venom to it. And now I play rook e1 to make it a little more difficult for black to play f6 or f5. Now rook fc8. So black prepares to play bishop f8 for queen h6. Now I just play g4. So again the same idea. Uh, Now I'm threatening something like g5 and then knight h2, knight g4 and knight f6. So black plays a5, g5, and now black realizes that this might be very bad for him. So he plays queen d8, attacking the pawn on g5 so that I cannot move the knight. So I go for the other plan. I just play g3. So now my plan is just this, and the weakness on h7 is very difficult for black to defend. He really needs a knight on f8 maybe, but this is very difficult. And in this position, my opponent realized that this was very bad for him, and he kind of played a4. So now I could have gone king g2 here, but I did not like the fact that he can go a3 and gain the c3 square for his rook. So I just used prophylaxis to play a3 first. He played b5, so he's trying to give me a pawn to have some counter chances, but I don't really need that. I just play king g2. I'm focused on the prize. That is the black king. Now he plays b4. I take, and he plays rook c4. During the game, I actually thought that a3 was the best try for him. Rook takes, pawn takes. And in this case, black has sacrificed a couple of pawns, but he's going to win one of them back. And he does have some counterplay now. It's not going to be that easy for white to win this, even though white is, of course, much better here. So black here plays the move rook c4. And what he wants is that I should take. And even though I win an exchange, but this bishop is actually a monster piece, and it will be very, very difficult to convert into a win, because suddenly black's pieces are very active. He's going to capture the pawn on b4 at some point, and then he's going to get a passed pawn, and his queen will go to d5, and he will have some intense pressure. Even that should be better for white, but why should I capture his rook? I have my eyes on the prize, so let's play rook h1. So black takes, and now how do you think white should progress with his attack? I request you to pause the video and come up with a plan for white. So white has to attack this pawn, and the easiest way to do is bring the queen into play, and there is an easy path to the queen, and that is queen f4. And here white is actually threatening an interesting attack. For example, my opponent here played h5, which is a desperate attempt at any sort of defense, but rook b2, if it's played, then rook h7, and white is threatening mate. So black has to capture, now queen f7, and after black moves here, then white's rook mates on h1. So now black realized that, and there is no clear defense, because how can he even think about defending his position? So even if he brings the queen, I always have the option of just doubling up on the h file, also including the queen. This is absolutely lost for him. So he tries the last defense with h5. So what he wants is that I should take here, and then he will try to have some sort of defense, let's say queen e8, h7, and maybe king h8, and try to hold this position. Even that looks pretty lost, but I just found an even clearer solution for white, and that is just g4, opening up the h file. So he cannot really capture on g4. So he plays rook b3. I just capture on h5. Of course, taking on d3 would be suicide. I can just capture on g6, and if here, then there's rook h8, and then followed by queen f7. And if he plays queen e8, then it's here, and here, and I win the queen. So queen f8 is what he played in the game. I just played rook d1, the bishop. I was a bit low on time now, so I did not want to necessarily take any risks. Queen g7, rook h3. So I'm preparing to double on the h file. He realizes that he should have still played rook f8. And here there is a very interesting line that the computer came up with. I'm going to show you now. h6, queen h7. So now you can imagine the queen on h7, how badly placed it is, because it cannot really go to h8 because of h7 check here, and now queen f6 takes and takes, and this is actually checkmate. So he has to go to h7, and now look at the queen. White plays knight h2, rook b2, knight g4, a3, rook c1, a2, and white just allows black to queen. I mean, this is an absolutely fantastic variation. uh, Bishop d8, rook d7, a1 queen, and black has two queens in the position, and even then he's completely lost. White just takes the bishop, even sacrifices another exchange, and if in this position look at the material, there is one bishop each, there is one queen each, one rook each. So basically black has a queen and a rook for a knight, and still he's completely lost. After knight f6, king h8, knight takes, and now next white is going to play queen f6 and queen g7 if black manages to protect f7 somehow. So In the game, my opponent just uh, played rook takes b2, which also doesn't manage to save him. I just double on the h file. Okay, fate takes. Okay, check takes, and queen h4 check. King g8. King g7 doesn't help because I can just give a check. Queen h6, and now bishop d6. I'm threatening checkmate. He has to sacrifice his rook. Takes, queen h5 check, king f8, uh, g6. Now my opponent was maybe a bit frustrated and he played a3 and I just checkmated him with queen h8.